Hello everyone, my name is Chaos in the Sky, and welcome to the very first Chaos Top 10 video on the channel. As promised, I'm finally getting to making some ranking videos, and of course our first one just had to be about one of the channel staples, Digimon. So today, I'm going to be telling you my personal top 10 mega level Digimon. Before we get into the list, I do want to let you know the criteria that I focused on when choosing the Digimon for this list. So that was mainly the Digimon's overall design, so just the Digimon that I thought looked the coolest, what I think worked with their design, etc., stuff like that. I also focused on the lore of the Digimon, what their history was, what's going on with that Digimon in general, what their backstory is, things like that, if they're part of groups in the digital world, etc. I also considered my personal history with the Digimon, either by using them in the video games or just seeing them in the video games, or watching them in the anime could have influenced my decision on some of them, as we'll see later. And the last major thing that I considered was if the Digimon had any really cool alternate forms, like burst modes or anything similar to that. So that was the main focus that I looked at when choosing the 10 Digimon for this list. Obviously, all the Digimon are Mega Level Digimon, because this is a list of my top 10 Mega Levels, specifically. And the Mega Level is actually my favorite level of Digimon in general, so I'm really looking forward to this one. I did end up having to cut a lot of Digimon from the list. I made a short list for this video of like 18 Mega Levels, give or take, so a lot of honorable mentions that really hurt me to leave off of the list, but in the end, I had to, because we had to bring it down to 10. But with all of that covered, let's get into the list, starting with my 10th favorite Mega Level Digimon. Starting off this top 10 is going to be Baihumon in 10th place for my favorite Mega Level Digimon. Baihumon is awesome. I mean, just look at him. He's a giant white tiger. He's got like 4 red eyes, he's got the cool little orb things floating around him like all the sovereigns do, and he is one of the 4 Digimon sovereigns. I have always been a very big fan of Baihumon. I just think his design is great. He has like a minimal amount of armor on him. He's got like the little spike thing on his tail, and then he's got like the helmet and the greaves on his claws and whatnot. Greaves, is that the word you would use? Probably, we're gonna go with that. Gauntlets, whatever you want to call them. But he just looks awesome. He's giant, he's a white tiger, he's part of the Sovereigns, and he always really stood out to me in Digimon World DS, where he's one of your overseers throughout the story of the game. You also get to fight him later in Digimon World DS. Just a really, really cool design, and Digimon World DS was one of the first Digimon games I played, so it really left an impression on me, some of the Digimon from that game, because it was my first time seeing a lot of them. But of course I had seen Baihumon in Tamers, and he doesn't show up a lot in Tamers, but whenever he did, I was like, yo, it's the giant tiger, I love that guy. So, Baihumon clocks in at number 10, starting the list. I don't have a lot to say other than I think his design is really awesome, and he really just stood out and stuck with me from since I was really young. Next up for number 9, we have Oryumon. I absolutely adore Oryumon's design. The snake-like dragon design, I think it's, when they're snake-like, it's like a Chinese design, I want to say. That's like a Chinese dragon, typically. And I love the structure of it. He's got the samurai motif going on, he's flying around, he's got the dual swords in hand and whatnot, just really cool stuff. He's also a natural carrier of the X antibody, which I always found really cool when Digimon were, like, just natural holders of the X antibody. It's just a cool thing, because you see all of these other Digimon that like get the X antibody and it changes their design into other cool stuff, but then you see some Digimon who just look awesome and you're like, oh, they have the X antibody by default. They were born cool. They weren't made cool, they were born cool is pretty much how I see it. On top of all of this, Oryumon is also very good in Cyber Sleuth. He has a penetrating move, which, for those of us who played Cyber Sleuth, especially on hard mode, know that that is very, very important. Cool animation with his attack and stuff like that. And above all else, he has a really neat connection to Alphamon, who, surprise, surprise, for anyone who's been watching me for a while, I'll be talking about Alphamon more later. But with his connection to Alphamon, his sick design, the X antibody lore that he has, and just being really useful in Cyber Sleuth, Oryumon was an easy pick for me for 9th place in this list. Now for number 8, we have something that might be a little bit of a surprise to longtime viewers, but 8th place is going to be Mirage Galgamon. I'm pretty sure that I've been on record in a Digimon playthrough or two saying that Mirage Galgamon is one of my favorite Digimon, probably even in the top 5. But after sitting down to make this list and really looking at where everyone was and having to order them accordingly, I ended up putting Mirage Galgamon down in 8th because some other Digimon I just enjoyed more after I was writing down reasons for this video. Now, Mirage Galgamon is awesome. I love his design, the blue, gold, and white that he has going on with the red of his cape. Just great color coordination, I guess you would say, color scheme, however you want to call it. Really sleek design. I love the moon motif he has going on. His chest plate opens to shoot out laser beams, which is really cool. He's got the Wolverine claws. He's got like the knight style looking thing going on. Just overall really cool stuff. On top of all of that, he has a burst mode. His burst mode is pretty sick. He gets the giant energy weapon with like the flail, mace, whatever you want to call it, at the end, and the like crescent moon bit on the other side. Really love that. He gets like the white hair and everything. Just really awesome design. Good stuff all around. It's no secret that I'm not a big fan of Season 5 of Digimon, but I have always said that what Season 5 absolutely does well with is Digimon designs, and Mirage Galgamon was one of the most standout designs from Season 5 to me. So in the end, I put him on 8th at the list. Moving on to number 7, we have Belphemon. Another one that I think I've gone on record saying I would rank higher than this, but after making the list I ended up putting a little bit lower, so might be another surprise for some long-term viewers of the channel. Belphemon is sick, and I'm going to be honest with you, I don't have a lot to say other than Belphemon is sick. I just love his design. I'm not going to talk about his sleep mode design because I don't care about that, but his rage mode design is so cool. The giant muscular, like, devilish goat creature thing. He's got the awesome gauntlets with the green aura coming out of them and just incredible stuff. Bunch of cool wings. He just looks cool, man. He's just a very cool, big, angry monster. And I can't ask for much more than that with the design. He just looks amazing. I love that he's the Demon Lord of Sloth, which also he is a Demon Lord. He's part of the 7 Demon Lords, and I love the Demon Lords. They're really cool. So just overall, he's just incredible. He also really stood out to me in Digimon World DS. Again, something I mentioned similar to Baihumon. He's the final quest, final boss in Digimon World DS, and that was one of the first times I saw him when I was younger, and I was just like, yo, this is such a sick final boss. He looks so cool. He's popping off, etc. Just really, really cool stuff. And I do remember him being pretty cool in Data Squad before they did the weird stuff with Karada, like possessing him, that I didn't like. But overall, Belphemon looks awesome, is a Demon Lord, and that's enough to put him in 7th place on the list. Clocking in at number 6 on the list is going to be Zeed Millenniummon. Much like Belphemon, right off the bat, I'm just going to say, incredible design. He looks so awesome. This twin-headed, like, weird, it almost looks like he's a DNA fusion gone, or a DNA digivolution gone wrong, where, like, 2 different Millenniummons, like, twisted together trying to DNA digivolve and ended up looking like that. He got high on this list mostly for his lore. The lore says that he was born from the corpse of a Digimon and that the bands of Digicode mysteriously placed on him keep him from destroying the entire digital world. Not only is he born from a corpse, which I didn't even know Digimon could have corpses, that doesn't make any sense, but not only is he born from that, but like some dude who we don't even know, because who even knows who was strong enough to do it, wrapped some code around him to stop him from just destroying the universe by existing, which is sick. I absolutely love that. He also has all of the stuff going on with Chimeramon and Machinedramon, who I believe like DNA digivolved to create the first Millenniummon, and then it's supposed to be like he digivolves to Moon Millenniummon and ends up as Zeed Millenniummon by, I guess, Moon Millenniummon becoming a corpse or something, I don't know. But overall, it's mysterious, a little weird, almost unexplained, but it gives you, it's like got that mythology feel. It's got that myth feel where it's like, maybe this doesn't all exactly add up, but it sounds sick. And sometimes the joy is just not knowing 100% about what's going on with him in general. He is also another case of the first time I saw Zeed Millenniummon was in Digimon World Dawn and Dusk and the Gaia Origin quest. And when I saw him, I was like, what the heck is this Digimon? This is one of the coolest Digimon I've ever seen. What's going on here? Just really incredible stuff. I love Zeed Millenniummon, so he got up to 6th on the list. Following Zeed Millenniummon, we have made it to the top 5, and bringing in the top 5 to start will be Beelzemon, a fan favorite. Hopefully people aren't upset that he isn't even higher on the list. Beelzemon is incredible. He has a sick design, the leather jacket, the whole biker thing he has going on. He's usually seen with his motorcycle behemoth. Just really incredible stuff. The dude just whips out like dual pistols or shotguns, whatever they are, and unloads on enemies. And as most of us who love Beelzemon will probably tell you, a lot of it comes from the Tamers anime. They do such incredible stuff with Impmon and Beelzemon, but the Beelzemon part is what really makes Impmon's story. So it's mostly a focus on Beelzemon. When he becomes Beelzemon in the digital world, and it leads to the fight with Beelzemon against Megidramon and Gallantmon, just really incredible stuff. Arguably the best part of Tamers in general. I would say it's my favorite part of Tamers, bar none, compared to everything else. And one of my favorite moments in all of the Digimon animes in general. That entire bit of Beelzemon fighting Megidramon and Gallantmon. Just incredible stuff. On top of all of that, he then gets Blast Mode, where they give him sick black, like, raven wings and a giant gun on his right arm that, like, opens up and shoots lasers. Like, what more could you ask for, honestly? Beelzemon is incredible design-wise. He's got great stuff in the anime. He just is cool and is fun to use in the games where he shows up as well. And he's a Demon Lord, and I just really like the Demon Lords. So that got him all the way up to number 5. Now, I want you to remember that I said I really love the Demon Lords when I do this one, and I ended up putting 3 of them on the list because number 4 is Leviamon. I couldn't help myself. Belphemon, Beelzemon, and Leviamon are all just so great. Just be glad that I didn't also put Lilithmon on the list, because she was an honorable mention. She would have been on like a top 15 probably. But Leviamon got all the way up to number 4 on my list because, listen, man, he's a big ol' alligator. Like, I love alligator designs in video games and in anime and whatnot, and Leviamon is almost a little basic because he's a big alligator. He's got like some metal plating over the top of his head and whatnot, or at least I think it's metal, or it's just really sharp scales. The color stands out. I love that he has 2 tails. His mouth is so ridiculously long, which is very like alligator crocodile. I don't know if he's a crocodile or an alligator actually, now that I think about it, but it doesn't matter, you know, tomato tomato. But his mouth is so ridiculously long, it's almost the size of, like, his body in most depictions of him, I feel like. It's very long. I love the twin tail thing he has going on. He's a Demon Lord. He's the only Demon Lord that is not monstrous, but, like, aquatic. All of the other Demon Lords are very, like, they're dark element, basically. Lucemon has the holy dark thing going on, but, like, Barbamon, Beelzemon, Lilithmon, etc., Daemon and Belphemon, I think I named them all right there. They're all, like, very obviously, like, they are dark Digimon. Leviamon stands out as being more aquatic and water-based, and he's based off the Leviathan, which is just, the Leviathan is sick in most media that it shows up in or is an inspiration for. I also love his lore. Apparently, he's the most powerful monster Digimon, whatever monster means in this instance, words, and he's capable of guzzling the entire digital world, which is just insane. Like, he could literally just drink it if he was, like, just slurp it up if he was in the mood. That's really cool to me. He is also another major case of having stood out to me in Digimon World DS, which again was one of the first, if not the first, Digimon game I played, and I was very young at the time. But when you got to Leviamon in Digimon World DS, he was, I believe, the only boss that took up 4 out of 5 zones. Super big, super intimidating, super cool looking, and again, I just really love big ol' alligator designs or crocodile designs, either or. I love them a lot. So Leviamon has always stood out to me. He's one of my favorite Mega Level Digimon, and he made it all the way up to number 4, just shy of the top 3, which we're going to talk about next. Number 3. This was a difficult one for me, but in the end, third place on my top 10 Digimon list is going to go to Ravemon. I love Ravemon's design. He is some kind of ninja birdman thing. Just awesome. Like, it's hard to go wrong with that in general. I love that he has, like, the one normal wing coming out, and then, like, the other wing is, like, kind of like a part of his left arm, or his right arm? One of his arms. I should have pulled up a picture of him when I was recording this. But he just looks really sick. I love his color scheme. I love his design. I love what he's got going on. He pulls out the sword and shoots lightning out of the sword and stuff. I'm starting to realize that some of my love of Ravemon might come from the fact that I really love Sasuke Uchiha from Naruto, but just really, really awesome stuff. On top of that, he has a burst mode, which makes him look even cooler. He gets the full-on, like, arm wings in the purple color, and purple is my favorite color. He looks more ethereal in general, and burst modes are just really, really cool stuff, as is. So, looks incredible, great stuff. He really stood out to me in Data Squad when I was watching Season 5. Again, I don't really like Season 5, but I love the designs, and Ravemon is no exception. Really cool stuff, especially with his burst mode. And he shows up in a lot of games, so I've had the opportunity to use Ravemon in many Digimon playthroughs over the years, either on my channel or just in my own time. So I've used him a lot. I really like his design. He's really fun. Birdman cool. I like birds. Just great stuff, really. So that got him all the way up to 3rd place, but he couldn't quite crack my top 2 because they are Digimon that I have adored for a very long time. So let's move on to number 2. I'm going to do my best not to take too long waxing lyrical about my 2nd and 1st place, but number 2 on the list is an absolute classic, Gallantmon. In my opinion, he has the best of the classic white knight design. Between the Royal Knights and other Digimon in general, there are a lot of knight-like Digimon, especially ones in the white style of the knight in shining armor kind of deal. Gallantmon, to me, does it the best. He's got the sick lance, he's got the cool shield, he has awesome signature moves with both of them, between Lightning Joust, just shooting a lightning laser beam at his enemies, and Shield of the Just, the way it slowly, in the anime at least, lights up all of the different symbols on the shield before shooting another fantastic laser beam, is incredible. The white and red color scheme works incredibly well. I love the nod to Guillaumon in his previous more dragon forms with the little headpiece across his forehead. Just all around, incredible design, has always stuck with me as one of the best, especially when it comes to the knight-like Digimon. And of course, if we're going to talk about Gallantmon, I have to once again bring up Digimon Tamers. Just like I mentioned earlier with Beelzemon, one of the best moments in all of Digimon anime, period, but also my favorite section of the Tamers anime specifically, is when it is Beelzemon fighting Megidramon, which leads into Beelzemon versus Gallantmon. That entire section and that fight, Guillaumon dark digivolving into Megidramon, and then Takato being the first one to biomerge after he's just torn up over having forced Guillaumon into this dark digivolution, leading into the biomerge of Gallantmon showing up to put an end to Beelzemon's shenanigans, was just incredible stuff. Really great. Has always stuck out to me from the Digimon anime, and really helped cement Gallantmon and Beelzemon as two of my favorite Digimon, period. On top of all of this, Gallantmon also has Crimson Mode, and Crimson Mode is sick. The shift to a more red focus on the color scheme with the glowing wings behind him works incredibly well. He gets the sick new weapons. I think one of them's called Bloodgang. That's like the sword. I don't remember the name of the other one. The other one might just be called Quo Vadis. Quo Vadis is at least the name of his attack, where he throws the spear and it does the giant explosion. Probably my favorite animation in the Cyber Sleuth games. Just really, really awesome stuff. For so very many reasons, Gallantmon sticks out as one of my favorites. He's a member of the Royal Knights, and I love the Royal Knights. The White Knight design, the Crimson Mode, just all around great stuff in both the games and in the anime, and just being cool separate of all of that. Just no matter what, he looks incredible. Great stuff. So because of all of that, Gallantmon very easily gets 2nd place, but he's still beaten out by one other Digimon that I'm sure a lot of you saw coming if you've been on the channel for long, because it's been my favorite for a long, long time. So let's go check out number 1 on Chaos's top 10 favorite Mega level Digimon. Surprise, surprise, it's Alphamon. If you have been watching my channel for more than like 2 weeks probably, if you've watched any of my Digimon content, even if you've watched some of my other content, sometimes I mention it in other playthroughs, Alphamon is my favorite Digimon and has been my favorite Digimon for a very long time, and I highly doubt that that will ever change. There are so many things that I love about Alphamon. We'll start by talking about his design. I just said a moment ago, Gallantmon has the best of the classic, like, white knight style, like the knight in shining armor thing going on. Alphamon covers the other end of the spectrum. He's got the sick black and gold color scheme going on. The red faceplate really pops alongside of it. He summons a magical sword, like, out of nowhere, like a glowing energy sword to fight with. He shoots a bunch of typically green, I believe, laser beams. Just great color design, really good stuff going on. It's fantastic. There are plenty of Knight Digimon that don't follow the, like, Knight in Shining Armor, like the white-ish color scheme that Gallantmon and Omnimon and Dynasmon, etc. follow, but Alphamon really stands out as the Black Knight, which I think is normally the Lancelot thing. Like, I think Lancelot is the Black Knight in mythology and whatnot. Like, that style, he nails it perfectly, and it is fantastic. I love it. On top of that, he also has his Oryukin form, which combos with another of my favorite Digimon that we mentioned earlier in the list. Oryumon, a Mega-level Digimon, literally becomes a sword, and Alphamon is the one strong enough to wield it. Like, oh yeah, this incredibly powerful Mega-level Digimon who is a natural carrier of the X antibody, he's like a sword now? Yeah, I'll use that. I can manage that. Incredible stuff. I just absolutely love it. Speaking of natural carrier of the X antibody, Alphamon is one of those as well, which, as I mentioned with Oryumon, I really like that gimmick, I guess you would call it. When it comes to Digimon, I'm a big fan of, like, oh, he's already got the X antibody. That's just who he is as a Digimon. Absolutely adore it. Going off of that, some of you may or may not know, but there is a CG Digimon movie that was made back in, 2002, 2003, something like that. I don't believe it was ever dubbed. It was Japanese only to my knowledge, and it focused on the X antibody and specifically Dorumon. Dorumon was the protagonist. It was a surprisingly really good movie. Like, overall, I really enjoyed it, especially as far as Digimon movies go. But the movie, spoilers for it, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. I don't remember what it's called. It might just be called Digimon X or Digimon X Antibody. Go look it up. You can find it on YouTube, I promise. But spoilers for that movie, it leads up to the final point where Dorumon, who has become Doragreymon at that point, I believe, is trying to get to Yggdrasil and stop Yggdrasil from destroying the digital world. And when he gets up there and he's faced with Magnamon and Omnimon, who are working for Yggdrasil and trying to stop him, he gets attacked by, I think, Dexterugamon? Or it might happen right before Dexterugamon comes up. I should have rewatched the movie before making this video, but it's too late. But the point is that he turns into Alphamon at the end of that film, this big climactic moment. He becomes Alphamon to fight Dexterugamon, and I believe he fights alongside Omnimon, which is another thing I love about Alphamon's lore, is that Omnimon in Japan is called Omegamon, and Alphamon and Omegamon go side by side as the beginning and the end, which is fantastic. I love that. So that movie's climax is Alphamon, or Dorumon rather, becoming Alphamon, and then Alphamon fighting Dexterugamon, I believe, and then Dexmon as well. And again, major spoilers, go watch the movie. I think it's only like 45 minutes. You should go watch it. It's on YouTube. It ends with Alphamon sacrificing himself to defeat Dexmon, and then he passes on the X antibody to Omnimon, making him Omnimon X, to conclude the film. And then Omnimon goes on and deletes Yggdrasil in Alphamon's stead. I watched that movie when I was young, and it's been a while since I watched it. I'm pretty sure it still holds up well. I watched it again a couple of years ago. I've watched it since I've gotten older. But especially when I was young, it was one of the first Digimon movies I saw. Seeing that moment of Alphamon showing up, revealing that he was a royal knight, which again goes into his incredible lore of, like, Alphamon is the empty seat of the royal knights, I believe they call it, and he's considered like a deterrent force. Like, Alphamon's existence is like, hey, don't mess with the digital world, we'll call up Alphamon and he'll end your soul. Just amazing stuff, and seeing the end of that movie, how it concluded, just took a Digimon that, after seeing it, I already loved, but how they used him in that movie cemented Alphamon as my absolute favorite Digimon of all time, and that has not changed for over a decade. I watched that back in, like, the mid to late 2000s, because for some reason the only way to watch that film was to, like, find it on YouTube, and it would be at like 360p. I think there are higher quality versions of it on YouTube now, but I absolutely loved that film. It really stuck with me, especially as far as Digimon content went, and Alphamon has remained my favorite Digimon since that film, at minimum. And I honestly don't see that ever changing. I doubt that they could ever make a Digimon or give a Digimon a role in an anime or game that would get me to change my opinion on Alphamon being my number one. So very easily, although Galamon's right behind him, but very easily, Alphamon takes first place as my favorite Mega-level Digimon, without a doubt. And so there you have it, Chaos's top 10 favorite Mega-level Digimon. Making this video was a ton of fun. I'm very glad that I finally did it after I floated the idea of doing top 10s way back when on the channel. So I hope all of you watching enjoyed. Be sure to like the video and leave a comment telling me your top 10 favorite Mega-level Digimon. One of my favorite things about ranking videos like this is to see what other people think or what their list would have been and whatnot. So please leave a comment, let me know your favorite Digimon. I'd love to see it. and I hope you're looking forward to more top 10 list videos on the channel in the future. Also consider joining the channel if you want to support the channel. You'll get early access to these ranking videos going forward, and you'll get to vote on what ranking videos you'd like to see once I've got a couple of ideas on the back burner. Thank you again for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the future for more top 10s or anything else I do. Until then, farewell.